Good morning, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So happy to have some time with you together on this Tuesday after Labor Day. Hope everyone had a safe and fun holiday weekend. We're so grateful to have YWTV to connect us, engage us, inspire us, educate us. And today is a day for education for many children across the country and here in New Jersey. It is the first day of school. And for those that didn't start today, many of them started a day or two before Labor Day. And as we know, it's a little bit different this year. Back to school does not look the same. Many of our students are going back virtually, as my two are. And those that are going back in person are going back in masks. So it's definitely a different time. And it's a little overwhelming for the kids. It's a little overwhelming for the parents. Speaking from one this morning who got up and had to get my twins set up on their laptops and ready for their first, by 8:20 to go on their Google Classrooms. I'm ready for a nap. But I couldn't be happier that I get to start my morning chatting this morning with Loyla, how do we say it? Loyla, okay, want to make sure. With Loyla Louvis. I actually met Loyla a few years ago at an event. We were sitting near each other at a Chamber of Commerce event and started talking. And I kind of mental noted, tucked her away in my head and said, oh, one of these days we've got to connect her to be part of a YW event. And the timing could not have been more perfect to have her be part of this conversation today. So with that, we're kicking off the school year with today's conversation. Loyla Louvis is part of she's Mothers in Training, Parenting, and Life Coach. That's her business. And she is going to discuss with us this morning about moms can actually experience some joy right now in the midst of what's going on. And I really do need to learn how to channel the joy this morning. But let me tell you a little bit about her and her own journey. She's certified with the American Association of Christian Counselors, and she's the founder of Mothers in Training, which is based out of Montclair, New Jersey. She conducts one-to-one sessions, provides workshops, parenting classes, and writes for the Montclair local news. As a mother of 4 children herself, she's experienced with single parenting, remarriage, home education, mentoring, and teaching. She's got all the bases covered for us, folks. And she has compassionate understanding for the personal experience that we need to get through this time. So thank you so much for joining us. As I said, this couldn't come, I somehow manifest these conversations right when I need them. But welcome. So happy to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be a part of this conversation.
So, before we kick into talking about the school year, this must have been a really interesting couple of months for you. I mean, here your whole career has been, focused on this work. And then when the world went remote in March, parents were really needing support. It was your moment, right?
It was my moment. When we had all those school shootings a couple years ago,
yes,
it started to occur to me back then, we need a place for moms to connect where they can get instant support and answers and feel comfortable and well held. So about a year ago, I started to work on creating a virtual room, a virtual environment. Little did I know that, Facebook groups were becoming a thing,
yeah.
But I really started to focus then, not knowing that eventually we would be completely remote, virtual, and needing answers. So, my little group of 600 mamas on Facebook, they're in the right place at the right time. And now I'm able to support them and support, anyone who's really in search of it.
Well, you'll be sure that I'm joining your Facebook group as soon as we finish this broadcast. And that's so interesting about the time with the school shootings, because that really is a time when parents, whether or not you're in the district where the shooting happened, it really, as a parent, just, you have that empathy for what the parents in that district feel. And it really triggers so much anxiety and concern, for our own children. What was that like working during, helping support parents through those discussions?
I had had such a traumatic upbringing myself. I was really comfortable with the tools and strategies that are required to get through trauma. And so I really, because I was a parenting coach now for the past 10 years, I was already, this is my wheelhouse, is working
Yeah.
with moms. So to bring in those tools of dealing with trauma, obviously I'm not a therapist, so I've always made that clarification, the difference between coaching and therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But as a coach, what I can do and what I love to do is provide tools for going forward. So that's how my past and everything going on with the school shootings really just came together. And now with homeschooling and COVID, this is just another added layer.
For sure. So, as many of us did kick off, if not today, in this, a few days earlier, a few days later, we're all in this window now. Can you share a little bit about some of the priorities that, we should be focused on during this first semester of education, especially for those of us that are doing it from home?
Yeah, this is such a crazy, crazy time. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody's really prepared or knows what to expect. And so there's a lot of heightened emotions. And when emotions are high, logic and the ability to think and problem solve goes lower. It's really a neurological thing that happens. So the priority is breathe, breathe, everyone, this is all going to work out really, really well. And just like they say, hindsight is 2020. Of course, there's going to be a lot of learning curves along the way, but enjoy this. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for us to connect with our kids in ways we would have never dreamed before and learn things about them, incredible, beautiful, brilliant things that we never knew. And on the other side, and equally valuable, is that there are weaknesses within our children that really haven't had an opportunity to get developed. And so we're going to really level out this whole parenting experience by being excited by all the wonderful things we didn't know and having an opportunity to work on some of those weaknesses that they'll benefit from down the road.
Yeah, I have to say there is a certain, there have been, I have to say, certain moments of this working from home and homeschooling and, being around them as a working mom myself. I'm not around a lot of the day, and I don't even get to be at a lot of the support events, for my kids that may happen after school. So, I feel like I've missed a lot over the, beginning years. So this past few months has really been wonderful to be able to be accessible, be in the next room, to jump in, to be part of something, and to hear some of the comments and conversations that they're having with their teachers, watching them interact, seeing their little selves develop and who they are, because obviously who they are with their teacher is different than who they are with us as parents. So I can see what you're saying, that there are those joys. But how do we, I think sometimes in the moment, and I can share a personal, right before I told you right before we started, suddenly we couldn't find, my husband and I between us couldn't find the link for music class, which is where we got them into the first class at 8:20. Then they had to go to music class. We couldn't find the link to music class. And so the two of us are in a frenzy running around trying to get, them onto their music class, which PS, they missed music today. Anyway, we couldn't find the link. But how do you manage that anxiety as a parent, and then the frustration of that, and kind of keep it from your child as you're trying to deal with it? Because, they wanted to go to music class, but obviously they missed it today.
So isn't this a wonderful opportunity to teach a life lesson to our kids? How do you handle circumstances when they don't go your way? What do you do with those emotions? What are the consequences? How big of an issue is this?
Yeah.
How do we put things in perspective? Like, just those few off the top of my head concepts, those are life lessons that are going to be useful every single day for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And they're looking to us to see, okay, what does it look like? How do I handle this?
Yeah.
And Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, for sure. I can see that they will model the behaviors they see for sure.
We're sending messages all the time, right? So, in a sense, this season, this semester, is really going to put the spotlight on us as parents, as moms, right? Since I work with moms, I'm going to
Mhm.
zoom in a little bit on moms. It's an opportunity to really take a close look at ourselves and say, do I like who I am? Is there something that I want to get better at? Am I satisfied with the messages I'm sending to my family about life? Those are big, heavy duty questions that are
Yeah,
so much bigger than the grade or the class, or because let's face it, learning is a lifetime hobby.
yeah,
We learn for a lifetime. So what's really happening right now is that we are teaching our children how to learn. What are the habits? What are these mindsets? How do we stimulate curiosity and excitement about learning? And how do we do hard things when we don't feel like doing them? That's the foundation that's underneath education, that when we really focus in on that foundation, the rest just layers really quite
on top
nicely
of
on
that.
top of it.
Well, that's great. That's great advice. So what are some tips for parents that especially now as we're starting, so much day one, day two, and we're busy trying to get their papers and folders organized. How do we get our heads organized around this space of imagining who we want to be for them and what we want to project for them, each day during this time? What are some tips and techniques you have for parents to do that?
Yeah, great question. Because um, it's almost like what I hear you asking me is, I need a skeleton, I need a structure, and then I'll work on everything within that structure. But it's almost like if you think about the human body, you have a skeleton first, and then you build the muscles and the skin, and then everything else builds on top of that. So what does the skeleton look like for doing life at home with children and trying to accomplish everything all at the same time with no clear instructions?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So the thing is, having a schedule is really here's where we're talking about anchors. Having a schedule is so beneficial because you don't have to put so much energy into the next thing coming. It's a no-brainer. So during a quiet moment, you create a schedule. What time does my day start? What time does my day end? And so I have kind of taken this whole conversation and kind of dumbed it down to, we don't have the bandwidth to think about all of this. So I try to do a plug and play. And I shared a link, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to talk to you about now, right? It's I created a family scheduler, and it's 8 pages of structure, scheduling, with room for customization. So what I share with the moms I work with is that the average day for mom is about 15 hours, generally speaking. She starts at 6 and she's going to end around 9. So if you split that up into 3 separate 5-hour categories, I call them buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your morning bucket of 5 hours, afternoon bucket 5 hours, evening bucket 5 hours. Now you have to plug things into those buckets strategically. So according to neurology and brain science and the way children, where the most energy is, you front load your day with the heaviest tasks in your first bucket. That's going to be 6 to 11. Your next bucket is 11 to 4. You put your lighter, less demanding commitments in that next bucket. And then your last bucket should be the easiest bucket. Nothing should be from 4 to 9 should be the easiest tasks, because Mentally, physically, psychologically, you want the whole family starting to kind of ease down into a relaxed state so that everybody sleeps well. Because if
Mm.
you don't sleep well, your next day is going to be sabotaged, right? So sleep is like so, so important. So the structure is, right? And you think about this before you get into any planning, really, right? So you know your academics, you know what the children have to tackle. You put the most demanding tasks, which is typically math for children and maybe language arts. I don't know, it's going to be different for each child, but those, or science, depending on the age of the child, maybe physics, right? So you front load them in the beginning. Now, if you have older children, teenagers, their greatest thinking energy is in the evening. That's the exception. Teenagers, their lights go on as it gets dark. So they, if you have your older ones, they can help you with the younger ones in the morning.
Mm.
There is a system that starts to, when you have the 8-page family scheduler, I go through each of these concepts day by day, hour by hour. If you have a toddler, your day looks very different than another Mother's Day. So I have a page just dedicated to homeschooling, raising, doing life with a toddler. Their attention span is shorter. Their curiosity peaks and dims quicker. And this is an important fact for moms who are homeschooling their young children. The younger, the more impact what I'm about to say has. They don't need a whole lot of time in a particular academic subject. For young toddlers,
Mm.
20 minutes is max. Now, many parents think 20 minutes, what on earth can I teach my child in 20 minutes? There's so much responsibility on me. How do I do this? This is the thing about home education and education at large, right? I think teachers would agree with me as well, is that we want to see things get accomplished. We want to see tasks mastered, and we want to hit those grades and those numbers, those scores, and move on. But that's so much pressure, which, as I said before, causes the emotional levels to rise
Right.
and the concrete sequential logic part of the brain to shut down. So it's like shooting yourself in the foot. So that's why I say, breathe, breathe, breathe. It's like, just like a drop of water over the course of time can etch away at a rock.
Mm.
A drop of water over time can etch away at a rock. Education is the same way. It's tiny, tiny, seamless, almost imperceivable steps that before you know it, it happens so imperceivably, you might think you're not accomplishing anything. You look back over time and you've etched that rock.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a great metaphor for sure to be thinking about, in the days about, is anything really getting through? Clearly. So we know that there's a lot of possible, anxiety and unknowns that kids and parents are dealing with right now. What are some of the, I guess these are some of the mindsets that we can use to anchor kids, as we're moving forward. Any other thoughts for that?
Yeah. Relationship. Relationship matters now more than ever,
Mm.
because think about our own childhood experiences in with education. Did you ever have a teacher you just couldn't stand? They were just mean. They didn't care about what you were dealing with. They were just had a set agenda, to get the course done, class done. And how did that make us feel? Did it make us want to learn? Did it help us absorb the content? didn't for me. I was a terrible student because I didn't get along with my teachers,
Yeah.
right? So it's so important to remember, don't sabotage a grade. Don't sabotage the relationship for a grade. It doesn't pay off. How many of us remember what grade we got in third grade, fourth grade math?
It's true.
We don't. We don't. It didn't affect our lives all that much. But if our parents said to us, you're lazy, you're stupid, you're not going to amount to anything, back then in that day,
Yeah.
we might carry that for the rest of our lives.
So true. So true. Yep. It's really it's amazing how much of the parent piece of this is mindset,
Yeah.
for success. And although I know it, it's great to hear you say it, and remind us that there's so much of it has to do with, how we're organizing it in our head and how we can help them. And I loved hearing about the different stages of children's lives, from toddler to, a little bit older and then into teen years, about the difference and managing your children and their days, because that's really helpful information as well. Well, as we're wrapping up, any other thoughts about some habits that are conducive to family success that we should be thinking of? You've given us so many great tidbits. And for everyone watching, the link to the wonderful schedule that we just talked about is here in the comments, and anyone can access it. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I know I'll be downloading it.
It also includes a 15-minute discovery call with me. If you have questions, you're looking at this thing and you're like, I don't get it. There's a video that comes with it explaining each page. I really want you to maximize the value of this 8-page scheduler. It's going to save you a lot of time and energy and allow you to put your thoughts in a different place.
Yes. And that's so wonderful to have taken our thinking out of that area, because there's so much to manage right now. So not having to worry about that is a godsend. And thank you for giving our viewers 15 minutes of time with you to help manage that. What a tremendous gift. And I hope everyone, embraces that.
Yeah. So to answer your question quickly, right? Habits, it's just the things we all know and struggle to do. Eat right, get your sleep, get outside and get fresh air, guard your thoughts, like have your thoughts come through like they're coming through a gate. Check them at the gate. Are they negative? Are they destructive? Are they hurtful? Don't let them in. Kick them right back out. Are they positive, supportive, encouraging, hopeful? Let them in and dwell on these things. But what we think about in the course of our days really is very powerful.
Well, that is so true. You've given us so many insightful suggestions to help us manage our days. Personally, I want to move you into my house. I think I could really benefit from having you around for a while. But I'm grateful to have had these 30 minutes with you. And I know everybody watching, also really can benefit from the suggestions you made. If any of you joined us a little bit late, or if while you've been watching this, you thought to yourself, wow, there's someone else that I know that really would have benefited from this conversation, do not despair. This lives on our Facebook page. It also lives on our YouTube channel. You can share it individually. You could share it to your page. But we do encourage you to we have so much great information here. And this is the time of year we want to start with good habits and keep them, going all the way through, because we don't know what's ahead. I mean, and that's part of it. We still don't know. Some schools started with a hybrid. Some schools started all virtual. We don't know in a month from now where, we'll be ending up. But, these good habits will definitely work to our favor, no matter how we go from here. So everyone, again, the links to finding Loyla is very simple here on mothersintraining.org. Again, she also sent us her wonderful schedule that you can access and make your own so that it fits for your life. And she's, again, so generously offered 15 minutes of her time for anyone who wants to reach out to her to connect. And we're so grateful to that. I know we'll be talking again. Love to be able to do a check-in with you partway through the year for some other tips for our parents watching. As people in the community know, YWCA supports many, many parents in our community through our before and after school programs. And we are here for our parents and with resources like today's conversation to be able to support you. We get it. I get it. And here's hoping my kids got on to their next class today after I left to come do this. But I do appreciate your honesty and your input, and I'm so grateful. And your calming presence, I already feel more centered just talking with you. And it really does go a long way for remembering that, our mindset is so, so important and key for our children to have a good experience.
Well, thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will be talking again. Again, everyone, please follow. And if they want to join your Facebook group, how can they do that? Is that through going to your link as well?
They can go right to Facebook and look up parenting tips for strong-willed kids.
Okay. All right, everyone, you got that? Then you can join the community that you've created before this time, but clearly is in full swing. And I have to say, it's what a wonderful resource. Just thinking that you were there to be able to support parents during all these school shootings and all these other crazy times that keep appearing for parents. It's wonderful to have a resource like you out there. Because, although we know that there are a lot of therapists and other resources, a coach is a very different experience. And, but, equally as important and, wonderful that we have access to you. So for those of you watching, a few last thoughts before we sign off for the day. One, last day, tomorrow, we kick off our 21-day Racial Equity and Social Justice Challenge. We want as many people in our community to join us to be part of this opportunity to create some dedicated time and space in your life to create effective social justice habits, particularly focused on dealing with issues of race, power, privilege, and leadership. You will get an email for 21 business days that present you with maybe an article, a podcast, and a little reflection just to be able to have you broaden your own personal experience and activate and energize you to learn more. So we do hope that you join us, and we do hope we have the link here in the comments. Ask you to share it with your friends, your business coworkers, your faith-based communities, other nonprofits you're involved with. This is just really a great opportunity as parents as well. It's such an opportunity for us to learn how to speak to our children about these issues, which is a conversation that we always get, and I'm sure that you hear, as well. Remember, it's Election Day, November 3rd. Please make sure that you register to vote. And we'll be talking about this shortly. You now can register to vote online, which is the first, here in New Jersey. And also, you need to find your polling place. You can vote by mail. There's lots of information. But if you go to vote.org, you can access all of it. Also, for any of the young women in your life that are sophomores in high school, YWCA is accepting applications for our Leadership Academy, Empower University. It's a 10-month experience that's for girls that focuses on personal, professional, and empowerment development. You can apply online. We'll put the link here for you for that as well. And we're accepting applications through September 20th. It's an intense, wonderful experience where the young women will meet about 60 different female mentors over the course of the 10 months, as well as learn lots of evidence-based key areas, whether it's about body image or money management, but important issues that we need young women to know about. Tomorrow, join me at 10 a.m. I'll have Amina and Nikki from Social Art Box with me. They have a subscription box service for people interested in art, allyship, and affirming importance of Black lives. So we're very excited to learn about their business and their projects. So you can join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. And on Thursday, we have another installment of our Share the Mic Now project that we've been sharing our YWCA platform with Black women in our community to amplify their voices, and look forward to hosting Lakeisha Nichols, who is a brilliant woman in our community, and I'm looking forward to talking with her. Folks, have a great day. For those of you who are going through the first day of school or the first days of school, or that they're coming, cheers to you. Cheers to your kids. Reach out to our expert here. She's got many skills and techniques to help us get through, and she's easily accessible through the Facebook group and her website. Thank you so much for making the time to join us today, Loyla. We really needed it. I really needed it. We really needed it. And we look forward to talking to you again in a few months and doing a check-in as to how parents are doing and any tips you can give us to keep going. Because this is a marathon, not a sprint that we're in for sure. Everyone have a great day. Be well. Talk soon. Bye-bye.